Hey, John, we're live now and
Yeah,
episode 700, brother. You did a good job.
700. Hey, man. Well, thank you. I did a good job on this episode, but man, you've done quite a bit of clunking along to get us to 700. That's no easy feat. 700 episodes. I mean, think about it. We're quarantined and I just touched my face. If you think about it, when we started this endeavor, we didn't have a number in mind. We've just been churning and you've been doing a lot of churning. And now here we are at 700. We were happy to get to 100.
Yeah. Yeah. Way back when George Whitney co hosted episode 50 to kind of talk to us and mark that milestone. And it's crazy that we're about to start our, I guess you would call it our eighth season as we hit the 700s. And we've already got 20 plus episodes recorded and another 20 planned.
That's right. So, excuse me, in the process of getting there, when you think about that, I remember when we did episode 50 with George, and that was something. We were like, man, 50 of them. And now it seems like we were in our infancy at episode 50. I mean, even when we did our episode 100 with Sly Stone, our episode 200 was Jay. And then we were going to have Pops on for 300, and now here we are having him on for 700 instead. So it's a lot. It's a good number.
Yeah, it's a lot. And the ability of the show to cover so many bases, so many things. Like if you pick a genre, lately we've been on a spurt with fighters where we have 3 UFC. I don't know if Frank Shamrock's technically in the UFC Hall of Fame, but his nickname is the Legend. So at some point they'll get around to inducting him. But between him, Don Fry, Tito Ortiz, if I was to throw at you bassists, oh my gosh, we'd be here for an hour talking about all the bassists and how incredible they are.
Yeah.
Just like Nathan East. Holy shit. These are
it's top of the mountain names. Yeah. I mean, drummers. Sometimes when I talk to fellow drummers about who's been on the show, a few minutes into the conversation, I'll go, I forgot all about, and it'd be somebody, truly great whose episode I cherish. So there's a lot in there. By the way, I want to give I'm leaning on this side. Behind me is a pair of Toca congas. It's a quinto and a conga, which is a 10-inch and a 12-inch drum that I bought because, oh man, I must have bought that 20 years ago. I was with my cousin Daryl at Skip's Music in Sacramento. And we bought them because at the time, the Escovedos were endorsers of Toca percussion. They've since moved on to LP, and they've got a great line of LP percussion instruments. The E family percussion line, and it's like a two-tone with looks like maple and mahogany maybe. They're beautiful drums, but I got the old school ones. But I want to drop that in because I didn't mention that in the intro, but I want to say that because they're part of the LP percussion family.
Well, if you're going to be a percussionist, you have to at least account for what the Escovedos are doing because there's no more notable family. When you think of the families musically that are notable en masse, obviously the Jacksons, you have the Escovedos, but quickly the Partridges.
Yeah, that was
but for real, the Osmonds are a legendary musical family.
Yep. Carpenters. I mean, you could get real granular in the drums. You got the Wackermans. Mm-hmm. They're awesome. And the let's see who else. I mean, there are a few. Abe Laboriel Jr. and Sr. There are some musical family legacies going on, but none quite the same as the Escovedos now. In that their legacy is all kind of within the drums, and they're all influential for a ton of different reasons.
And the Escovedos, they basically own a genre with that, taking the Latin music thing. And that's a big slice of kinds of music and everything.
Right.
But it's theirs. And they are the predominant family. And I really, and Mary is saying the Mandrell sisters, when we could do this for a while.
Mandrell, that's right.
Yeah. The Bee Gees, if I didn't say them earlier.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible to have, a family of people that all make just the top level. And gosh, there's one of the reasons why Pops is hard to get for 300 is Pops is still busy in his 80s.
Dude, he's busy. Of course, now they're under quarantine. If you guys follow the Shelia E fan page on Facebook, she posted a quarantine video of moms and pops dancing, and she was playing congas for them to dance to. And it's an adorable video, and you should go check it out. They're living in quarantine and unable to play live shows right now, which is heartbreaking because, man, he's super busy at 84, almost 85.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
what else do you want to say? I know you say a lot of it in the intro, but what else do you want to say? I mean, we don't get to do this too often. And when it comes to legends, Pops he's legendary. He's above the bar.
Yeah, above the bar. I mean, and the thing that I think makes him such a treasure is that he's lived a life that's had its struggles, and it's everybody's life. He's led the every life. That's why he's everybody's Pops. And the ability for the family to stay together is just, I mean, they had every opportunity in the music business, being the music business like it is. I'm sure they had every opportunity to be mad at each other and to do all the things that musical families do when they get mad at each other. And they managed to hold it together and support each other and love each other and outwardly love each other. So they're just a lot of fun to be around, a lot of fun to see. And one of the things that is going to happen when we all can go see music in shows again is that everybody should, I know I will, go see the Escovedos and treasure seeing as many of them together as we can all the time.
Dollar for dollar. We've recently had Juan on the show. Is there a better bargain in music for a live show?
Man, I have to say no, because recently I saw them in a great venue at the Empress Theater in Vallejo that sounded spectacular, drew a tremendous crowd, a capacity crowd. The ticket to that show was $15.
Say what?
$15, man. And you had world-class players filling the stage. They had such a great lineup. And, the fact is, when you look at just the Escovedos, I mean, Pete, he's the legend that he is. But Juan's history and all of the people he's played with, Peter Michael and his history, I mean, he was the musical director for Lionel Richie and Stevie Wonder. And there is not a higher musical bar for a hired gun than to be the musical director for an act that size. Yeah. He's the boss. And in order to have the chops to maintain a gig like that on an enormous arena tour, you got to be world class. There's no other way to categorize that. And to see a collection of world class players on every instrument, because of course you can't have 3 world class players and then not have a world class pianist and bassist and horn section and everybody else. So to see that for the bargain that was $15 at the time, well, it's no wonder that they packed the house. Of course, it was a Wednesday night, and Wednesday night's a little harder to draw a crowd. But to go see them at Yoshi's for $25, or to go see them at a local theater that holds 500 people for whatever the ticket amount is, it's worth it. It's going to be worth every penny.
Any final thoughts before we kick this episode off?
No, just, man, good work getting us to 700, and it's been a really fun ride. And the reality of having this many episodes is still mind-boggling to me. So much fun and so enriching. Just appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening to the show and keeping us going, and all the great guests that we've had for allowing us to be interested in them and poke around and figure out what it is they're doing.
Yeah, and I'll just say the same thing. We couldn't have gotten to 700 without some folks along the way. There are so many people that have helped, and including, our friends that listen to the show all over the world, by the way. Yeah. So thank you to all of you, whether you're in Sri Lanka, Germany, or in San Pablo.
And thank you to the one guy in Azerbaijan.
That's right. That guy's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Here comes Pops and Moms.
Right on. Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero, producer and host of Your Break It Down show.
That's something old Pedro says, and I'm adopting it because it sounds pretty cool. We've got a doozy for you today. Our guest is the great Pete Escovedo. If you don't already know him, I'm going to tell you why he's so important. And if you do know him, I may tell you something new. But let me get a few things out of the way so I can let you have it. First, PeteEscovedo.com. That's where you can buy his book, My Life in the Key of E. You can see his artwork, purchase music, see some great videos, and read more about him. But get his book. You are going to love it. I read it in a weekend. I could not put it down. Also, support your favorite veteran causes. Of course, if you're a listener of the show, you know we like Save the Brave. SaveTheBrave.org is where you can read more about them. And if you need help launching your own podcast or need content creation consultation of any kind, you can always reach me at john@breakitdownshow.com or my co-host, co-producer, co-conspirator Pete A. Turner at pete@breakitdownshow.com. And finally, we hope you're doing well while we all shelter in place. If you're listening at home, and we all salute and support all the healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, grocery store workers, delivery drivers, everyone who's keeping us going and risking their own safety being out there. Thank you, everyone. We will get through this together. Now back to our guest today. He's very special to me as a musical influence and as a man I really admire. He is the legendary Pete Escovedo. The word legend gets thrown around a lot, but the man is 84 years old. He'll be 85 in July, and he's been sharing his percussion stylings with the world since he was 17. He's in the 68th year of a storied career in music that started in the Bay Area in the 50s and in the pivotal 60s, where he played a key part in the emergence of the Latin influence, and he spent several years on the road with Santana. In the early 70s, he and his brother Coke assembled the supergroup Azteca, which had between 15 and 25 members, depending on whether you saw them on a local stage or on the road, opening for acts like Stevie Wonder. The band included players like Neil Schon, Lenny White, Paul Jackson, Tom Harrell, Eddie Henderson, Don Grusin, and Terry Bozzio, and even a teenage girl, Pete's daughter, who would later become known as Shelia E. Later in the 70s, Pete signed with Fantasy Records, a Berkeley label that released some unique and important offerings from Lenny Bruce, Vince Guaraldi, and Creedence Clearwater Revival. He did 3 albums for Fantasy Records into the 80s, and through a merger became part of the Concord Jazz roster, where he made 8 more albums, the last one of which came out in 2012. Along the way, he's played on countless sessions and toured all over the world many times, but he's always stayed in California, where he's influenced generations now of Bay Area and Los Angeles-based musicians as a performer, a recording artist, a club owner, and a mentor to young folks across all the cultures and backgrounds you find here. He's influenced or guided or even helped to get going the careers of many young musicians, to include one of my dearest friends and catalyst of this show and practically everything else I've ever done, Derek Jones. Now, Pete has collected all kinds of bumps and bruises along the way in the ups and downs of the music business, and he's emerged as a great man, artist, musician, father, husband, and elder statesman of percussion, whom we all refer to as Pops. He is everyone's Pops. And joining me today, along with Pops, is, who else? Moms. His wife of 63 years, Juanita, who runs the show and rules the roost. Together, they've cultivated a beautiful family that sticks together, creates together, and just leaves a trail of love and goodness wherever they all go. Moms and Pops talk with me about what it took to keep it all together, or what it takes to keep it all together, and the reward they find in it. I know I'm not alone when I say that as much as Pops is the star of the show wherever he walks in, Mom's is just a beautiful soul, and her presence is very special. You'll hear it. This conversation was captured at long last. We originally planned to have Pops as our 200th episode. But hey, we've all been busy. Maybe it was our 300th episode. Still, many episodes ago. Anyway, Juan was a huge help in getting it together And by huge help, I mean he picked up the phone and called Mom's and asked her to make it happen, and then we found ourselves together a few days later. But it was at a show at the Empress Theater in Vallejo, where the Pete Escovedo Latin Jazz Ensemble, featuring Juan and Peter Michael, played the opening of a month-long concert series that was arranged to celebrate his music and his art. They displayed several of his paintings, which are also for sale, and the idea was to have the series of concerts once a week in the month of March, featuring bands that were influenced by Pops. The first night was sold out, packed to the gills. They had to take a head count for the fire marshal. And this conversation was captured backstage beforehand. And then the coronavirus came and put the kibosh on concerts. This day, we'll talk about the Escovedos. Juan, who has been a guest on the show a couple of times, Peter Michael, who we must have on very soon as well, and of course Shelia, who we'd love to have on anytime. And they will all tell you every day, the ultimate showman, the man of the hour. Here is our guest, Pops, Mr. E, Pete Escovedo.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay
This
Moore.
is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick Marotta.
This is Stuart Copeland. This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hi, this is Pete Escovedo, and you're listening to The Break It Down Show.
It's been exactly 670 episodes that I've wanted to hear those words, grace our airwaves, and finally it happens. But luckily for me, I not only have Pops in the house, I also have Moms in the house.
Right on.
And we're going to have a great time doing this. Now, I know I only have you for a little while because we got sound check to do and you've got business to take care of. So let's get the business right out of the way. Tonight, we're at the Empress Theater in Vallejo, California, and we are not only going to have some music, but we're going to have some music from you every Wednesday of this month.
Correct.
And you are displaying some of your artwork. And most of your fans already know, but I'll tell the more casual fans that Pete Escovedo, the percussion legend, has also been an artist for many decades.
Right.
And your artwork is on display here. So we're going to have a good time. We're going to listen to some music. We're going to have this theater, by the way, great drinks, great atmosphere. Everybody who comes down is going to have a great time. We're going to fill this house every Wednesday of this month. But they're also going to see some great artwork, and it's for sale.
Yes, it is. All of it is for sale.
Yeah. So let's talk about your painting, because everybody can go out and hear and you should, if you don't already, go buy every piece of Pete Escovedo percussion album you can buy. But I want to talk about the artwork, and I'm going to start with you, Moms. Let's talk about the art.
Yes.
How important has the art been in your household? Has this been an outlet? Because I know that music has always been a part of the commerce in your house. What has art been in your house?
Well, Pops paints in the garage.
Okay.
And he loves to paint in there. It's private. We don't naturally have our car in there, but that's where he paints. And a lot of the paintings are in the garage because there's so many of them.
My goodness.
Yeah, and our walls are full.
That's not the greatest place to store paintings, so you got to move them.
We ran out of walls.
Yeah, there's no room to put any more paintings on our walls, in our house.
Yeah.
But every once in a while he'll trade off, put something different on there. But this has always been his passion is to paint. And sometimes after he paints, he'll come in the house and he goes, "Mom's come and look at this." And he, not long ago, he had me to come in the garage and he goes, "Look at this." And I go, "Oh my God, you painted your father." And he said, "No, that's me." And I go, "Oh wow."
My self-portrait.
Yes. Did you realize he was that old?
It looked just like his dad, but he looks exactly like his father.
My dad, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because we're an audio medium, I want our listeners who don't know, all our listeners know who you are. If there are one or two listeners out there who don't know who Pete Escovedo is, I'll tell you this about Pete Escovedo. He is Mr. Showtime all the time. And we had Juan did an episode with us a couple days ago.
Yeah,
and
great.
we talked about you. And he said, man, my pops is on so much of all the time that he combs his hair to go to bed.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, I do.
He doesn't comb it like he needs to comb it to go to bed. It's just a thing that he does. He brushes his teeth and he gets his brush and he brushes his hair and he comes to bed and, you know, his pajamas look like he's going out at a tuxedo place. Or you just have to see him. And the kids are always clowning
Make fun
around.
of me,
Yeah, because they say my clothes and my pajamas and everything and Pops, because we're totally so opposite.
Yeah.
And opposites attract. But yeah, he does brush his hair before he comes to bed.
Pops, did you start painting to impress this lady? Or what made you
No,
start painting?
actually.
He was painting before he met me.
Yeah. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. It was love at first sight.
Is that true?
Yeah.
All right. That's a good story. Now you have been married. You have been married a little greater than 60 years.
63.
63 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
63 years of wedded bliss. What, if you can remember back that far, what about your meeting? What do you remember most when you saw Moms for the very first time?
Well, actually, you know, my friend was a basketball player, and he went to a different school than we went to junior high together. But then he went on to high school to another school,
Tech High in Oakland.
Yeah, and I went to a different high school. So he started playing basketball, and Mom's brother Harold played basketball, and so they became really close friends.
Okay.
And so my friend Bobby Ochoa said, man, you got to meet my friend Harold and meet his family. They're really nice people. I said, oh, really? He goes, well, where are they from? He goes, well, they're from New Orleans. And he goes, and they're Creoles. And I said, what's a Creole? I don't know what a Creole was. I'm Mexican. That's all I knew. From the wrong side of the tracks, too.
Creole, do you put that on a taco?
Yeah, right. So anyway, he took me over there, and I met her. As soon as I saw her, I go, well, this is a pretty fine-looking little girl there. But, yeah, see what I could do. But
let's see what I can do.
So I would.
I'm going to show her one of my paintings.
Yeah. Actually, I would walk up to her school just about every day and just see her and stuff. And then, you know how they used to have those drugstore ice cream creameries where everybody would hang out in those days.
Soda
back
fountain.
Back in the 50s, yeah.
Yes.
Bobby socks. She had Bobby socks, sweater and stuff like that. But I was cool, man. I always had a jacket, slacks, you know, matching shoes. You know, I was
always Mr. Showtime.
Yeah, he was wearing a white shirt, sandal pants, and brown shoes, and a jacket. And he never had that jacket on. He always had it folded over his arm.
Yeah.
It was an arm accessory.
Yeah.
I see.
And sometimes he'd have a tie, but this is like when we were like 17 and he was 20.
Age 17, he had a jacket folded over his arm.
Yeah.
This is what we're dealing with, everybody.
Yeah. So he was always dressed when I saw him, and I was with my girlfriend Margie. He wrote when we were in junior high, and I saw him and I go, Margie, look at that boy. He is so cute. He's so cute. And he was about this big, soaking wet. He was so tiny and thin.
And skinny.
Yeah, skinny. But yeah, that was in junior high. But we got married when I was 19 and he was 21. And then we had our 25th wedding anniversary, which then our 4 children were in it. And then we did our 50th, and our grandchildren were in that. Then we did our 60th wedding anniversary, and that was 3 years ago. And our grandson remarried us. He's a pastor.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. So we have 12 grandchildren and 13 great.
So we've been married 3 times or 4 times?
4.
4 times.
Well, we got married the first time. The other 3 were anniversaries.
Right.
Yeah.
But you committed and you've recommitted 3 more times.
Yeah, and Pop said that that's enough.
Okay.
He said that's enough.
I think we all got it.
Yeah, we all They all got it now.
When did you first hear Pops play music?
It was Carlos Federico. His
Okay.
name was. He played piano, and it was at the
California
Hotel on San Pablo in Oakland.
In Oakland, yeah.
On San Pablo Avenue in Oakland.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
only, I was 18 then when I first started with Carlos.
So then I was 16.
Yeah.
And so at that point, you had only known each other a year or so, or had you just met?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how much did you know, Pops, that you are already on your path?
Well, I
Was there any hope that you were going to do anything else?
always
play music?
had hope, but I was, in a sense, torn between two loves, and the love of painting and the love of being a musician.
Mm-hmm.
But I never thought that I would actually reach this point in my life in the music world, because I just didn't know if I would be able to hang on this long and not get discouraged. Just to, there was a lot of downfalls, and I wanted to make sure that I kept my spirits up and kept wanting to go ahead and try harder. So it was, a surprise to me that I stayed in it so long, but it was something I loved to do. I still love to play. And it's just so rewarding to me, the music, and now with my painting,
With the kids.
it's come full circle, because even at the time when I was painting in high school, I had a wonderful art teacher there, and she saw something in me and just let me freely paint. She would come in and look at my work, and I would ask her, am I doing anything wrong? Am I doing this right? And she would tell me, I want you to just be free and do what you want to do, because it looks good.
So there was no wrong.
Yeah.
She wanted to take the concept of wrong away from you.
Right.
And let you just explore.
She was very intent on having me go to college. And all I had to do was finish school and go to College of Arts and Crafts. She got me a scholarship there.
Wow.
And she even got me an apprentice job working for Foster & Kleiser Advertising as an artist.
So you had a career path as an artist laid out in front of you.
I was set up, man. I was set up, but that's all I had to do was
Graduate.
go on with that. Yeah, and go on with the art career. But at the same time, I was playing in this little high school group, Ed Kelly, who was a great piano player. He's passed away since, but he put a little band together, and it was kind of like a Latin jazz little quintet. And at the time, I was trying to learn how to play saxophone. And so I asked him, I said, I play saxophone, can I get in the band? And he goes, well, I already have a saxophone player. He goes, but I need a percussion player. So at the time, I was just fooling around with coffee cans and beating on whatever I could beat on. And so I said, yeah, man, I can do that. So that was it. And my friend, one of my other friends, on my 16th or 18th birthday, he came to my house and he bought me a set of timbales. And he goes, here, learn how to play these. And I had no clue.
He had no idea what he was starting.
Because then I was just playing bongos and congas. So then I started listening to, the great Tito Puente, and I met Tito when I was 18 and became friends instantly with him. And once
to the rest of us in the world, you and Tito Puente are peers. But at that point, you were meeting him. He is already established. How much age difference was there between you guys?
I think
it's probably 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, maybe 10 years. Yeah, about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go see him play all the time, and I would always invite him over to the house with the whole band, and moms would cook meals for everybody, and we'd just talk about music and stuff, and all the guys in the band were great guys, and we just hung out, and I just really loved that stuff. So when I was playing with Ed Kelly in high school, we got a chance to open up at a major jazz club in San Francisco. It was called the Downbeat Club. It was on Market Street, San Francisco. And they let high school kids open up for a name.
Established bands.
Established band.
Yeah.
The band was Count Basie Orchestra.
Come on.
And so we go in there and we played our little thing. And
how'd you do?
I think we did great. I mean, the thing about it is the whole vibe of playing in a nightclub, the people who want to listen to jazz.
Yeah.
And there we were playing, and just the vibe, the applause, the way people are in a club. And I go, this is it, man. This is what I want to do. This is what I really want to do, become a musician. So I kind of put the art on the back burner.
You have the love that you feel when you're playing and everybody's there and enjoying your stuff, and you're vibing and playing in this club and the crowd's going crazy and stuff. You don't get that same immediate satisfaction creating artwork. It's a more,
well, it's a more private, more of a private thing.
More of a private process.
Yeah. In my painting, I don't paint for other people. I paint just for myself.
I see.
And it's something that I've either seen, experienced, felt, and it's all very emotion and stuff that's within you that sometimes you don't even know that that's in you, because once you start working, I could look at a blank canvas and then just start working, and then it just becomes something. And sometimes I look back at it and I go, man,
that's not where you thought you started.
Yeah, where did that come from? How did that come about? And it's just something that flows within you.
But it's straight from you and straight to the canvas. Moms, back then, if you think back to that period of time, were you rooting for one or the other? Did you enjoy the music more than the art, or vice versa?
I think it was equal, really, because I just, when Pops and I first got married, I almost instantly got a job working and stuff, because he was only working like once a week, and it was paying like $25, $30 a gig, so I had to go to work and everything to keep him so that he would be able to play the music. Yeah.
Wow.
But I think it was equal, though. I tried not to interfere with anything that he was doing, just to let him be free as a person to play his music and his art. So for me, I think it was just equal. I didn't prefer that he did art or his music first.
You knew back then to give it space and let it develop.
Right. Whatever was good for him.
Well, you found a fine Creole woman who would also support your artistic endeavors.
Oh, yeah.
Man, how did you get so lucky?
I'm telling you, I was blessed. Man.
He was blessed.
No wonder you stuck around 63 years. So as you go, here's a funny thing that you mentioned, that you had to hang in there and you didn't know if you had the staying power, because now we have retrospects and we can all look back. And those of us who are younger and been following your career for many years, it looks like the whole thing is deliberate. It looks like you had this plan the whole time.
Not really.
No, not really. No.
And there were doubts along the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
because we had to a couple of times we had to go on welfare, and then we had those blue chip stamps.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
and you had mouths to feed.
Yeah, we had some rough times, and we started a family pretty early. As soon as we had Sheila, right, the first year we were married. Yeah, then Juan and Peter Michael, then the last one was Zena. But yeah, it wasn't easy. It was an easy time trying to raise a family and play music for a living back then. But I had no idea how the artwork was going to go. I was just mainly painting for my own pleasure. But there was a woman who had an art gallery in Alameda and actually looked at my work. And she said, "Have you ever thought about having a show?" I said, "No. I just never thought about that." So,
how long ago what year was this?
Oh, this was way back.
Wow, probably 40 years ago.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
And so
she's the first person who gave you the idea to have a show.
To sell my art.
Yeah.
And so I took my artwork down there and we set it all up, and I had close to, I don't know, maybe close to 50 pieces then.
That you dragged around with you as your family was struggling to make a living and make ends meet, but you had this art collection that you had cultivated and kept with you.
No idea of selling anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Excuse me, because he was giving, when people would come to the house, the family and friends, they go, God, I like that. So he would just give it to them.
Yeah, I was just giving it to them, And so we came pretty close to selling just about all the pieces that I had.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
It was a big hit.
That first show that really turned my head around. I said, well, maybe, I should continue this artwork. And, so,
maybe we should continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so all the years of playing music, whenever I have the time, whenever I'm home, not on the road and not working musically, I will paint. And so...
but like he said, he paints what he feels, and then he'll stand back and look and go, God, where did that come from? And stuff. But in Cupertino, he painted for the Cupertino Inn.
Yes.
It's a hotel in Cupertino. And there's 3 levels.
That's the one that's right off the freeway, right?
Right.
Exactly, yeah. So a lady approached him and wanted him to do some artwork and put in all the rooms in Cupertino.
No kidding.
Yeah, so we did that.
Yeah, so it took him about a year.
Yeah, it took me about a year.
He's got about 3 or 4 paintings in every room in Cupertino.
In the Cupertino Inn.
Yeah, but the thing is that when Pops paints, he paints from within.
Yeah.
And some things may not be
so it's never been for commerce. And it's always been in other words, you might be staying in the Cupertino Inn and look up at a painting and go, what was going on here?
Yes. So that's why.
I didn't want them to have nightmares.
Yeah.
So he had to change his outlook on what he was going to paint because it's a hotel,
Tone
so everything
things down.
Totally tone.
Now, did you have to tone down what you were painting, or did you have to change within yourself so that what you were painting would be different?
Yeah, both, actually. I had to really, within myself, think about, well, somebody's going to be in this room sleeping and looking at artwork. Mm-hmm. It has to be something.
I want to freak these people out.
Yeah, that would be calm enough.
It has to be nice.
Yeah. So we did, some scenery, landscapes, and some designs, but I didn't do anything like what I have here with the faces and
I did the music and guitars and congas and
happy
music.
subjects.
Yeah, very happy.
Yeah.
The
Bright
Cupertino
colors.
Inn is still there.
Yeah.
Is all that artwork still there?
We haven't been there in a while. I don't know if it's all still there. We have to go there one day.
Yeah.
Do they know? Is it possible that the Cupertino Inn is under new management and they have no idea that they're filled with artwork from Pete Escovedo?
It could be, because it's been about probably, 10 years?
Oh, yeah. Maybe more than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because
I had never heard of that.
Yeah,
that's something else.
Really?
Wow.
You didn't know that the artwork was there?
No, I didn't know the artwork was there. I didn't know it was filled with your artwork.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. Well, when he first did it, he did original paintings.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted her... She wanted him to put original paintings, and he did. The first one that he did in the room.
The first 3 suites. I did originals.
And then it dawned on us, like, you can't have original paintings.
Well, she even brought it up because she said, I don't want anybody ruining
taking these things,
marking them or anything.
So she told me to, change them and make prints instead of actual original paintings. And she took the originals home. Yeah.
Yeah, so then he had to do original.
She had an ulterior motive. She was like, yes, make prints. I'll just take these with me.
Right.
Just to keep them safe. So at these points in your career where you've had these moments where, you're commissioned to do something, whether it's art or music, when did you last feel that sense of doubt? Like, man, I wonder if I can keep doing this. How long has it been since you felt that? Because like I said, this whole thing looks deliberate to all of us. We all think that's how you become a legend. You do this thing, and it's a calling in every moment of your everyday.
It's a calling,
your purpose.
but we don't know it though.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the thing, is that along the path, there's still a path, and you got to go down that path.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So along the way, when was the last time that you can look back and go, man, I really didn't know at that point. I really thought I might have to try to do something else.
Yeah. Well, I've always believed in myself, but I just didn't know how far it would take me.
Right.
Either the art career or the music career. But, it's I always look at it as God had a plan for me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was going to be able to be playing this long.
Yeah.
Because my brothers played and they all passed away already. A lot of my friends and the great musicians that I've played with, people that I've known, a lot of them are gone.
There are many.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
So I feel very blessed and very lucky that I'm still able to do it. But I know that, okay, I'm 84, so there's going to come a time where...
84? Did you know he was 84 years
Yes. He keeps reminding me.
Yeah, I do. So, there's going to come a time where I'll be too slow. I can't do it no more. I don't want to go on the road. It's going to happen. It's eventually going to happen.
Yeah.
So
to the detriment of us all.
Yeah, and it's like any athlete who knows when it's time to quit.
When it's time, yeah.
I probably have to come to that decision sooner or later. Well, it's time to retire, or it's time to stop.
Yeah.
I won't stop with my artwork, but I would stop music because
music is an endurance sport.
Yeah.
And it is something remarkable to hear that I could do the math and think, oh yeah, Pops must be around 84. But I didn't really think about that until you said it, because I've seen you play many times, and I've seen you play very recently, and you deliver a show. Mm-hmm. But delivering that show does require energy and focus and endurance. And
it does.
It's amazing that you're doing it at 84 at the level that you continue to do it.
Yeah, he was at Yoshi's about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was. And he did 2 shows a night.
For 4 nights in a row.
No, 3 nights.
3 nights in a row.
Yeah, but 2 shows and 2 shows the next night, and then the third day it was 1 show. Mm-hmm. So it was 5 shows in 3 days, and then rehearsal, and then we drove from LA to
Bay Area.
To the Bay Area for Yoshi.
Okay.
So, that drive, it takes us around 6 hours. The next day at sound check, like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he
Back
plays
in
at
LA.
Yeah. So it's just a constant, but you have to be ready for that. So you have to set your mind. I have to do 5 shows. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
So you try and keep your strength up. We take vitamin C. We try to drink a lot of juice and just be happy, because if you're not happy and you're going around with a lot of worries and things going on, it just drains your body. Your body knows it. You're not able to focus and do what you're supposed to do.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so with our children playing with him, and then Sheila also came, Juan and Peter Michael plays with Pops, and then Sheila came to honor him too.
Join in.
Yeah, so... and my daughter Zena was there, and her and I sell the merchandise.
Right.
So there's 6 of us. So all 6 of us were there. Mm-hmm. And it really helps because we go out in the daytime and maybe go have lunch or something.
Yeah, so we make it a fun time.
And just be together.
More than a work schedule. It's more of a fun thing, and we try to keep it that way. I mean, like tonight, to be able to show my artwork here, I'll be able to play some music with other musicians, and my 2 sons are here. And so we just, make it fun. Let's have fun, and enjoy the time. And we always look at it that way.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a beautiful place. I've never been here.
You've never been here?
No.
Yeah, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, I played here before, but you
were here not long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. But she didn't come, so.
It's a very, very nice place. But that's what's nice, which keeps you young too, because sometimes we'll go somewhere out of town or whatever, and it's a new place. We've never been there before, so it's exciting to see who's going to come and who loves the music and who buys merchandise, and he like Pops to sign everything, and he comes out and sign, and then after a while he goes, "Moms, am I through? I am so tired." I'm
Still
exhausted."
experiencing the world together, though.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
most of our listeners also know that you've cultivated a beautiful family,
Yes.
and that you guys do stay tight, and that you create together, and that you've stuck together in this really rough business of show business.
Right.
And it's something that's amazing and magical to see. And
Hey, this is Pete A. Turner from Lions Rock Productions. We create podcasts around here. And if you, your brand, or your company want to figure out how to do a podcast, just talk to me. I'll give you the advice on the right gear, the best plan, and show you how to take a podcast that makes sense for you, that's sustainable, that's scalable, and fun. Hit me up at pete@breakitdownshow.com. Let me help. I want to hear about it.
amazing and magical to see. And do you think that the adversities that you guys experienced as you were bringing up the family galvanized you to do that? Do you appreciate each other more because of that? What's the magic recipe to making your family be so close and so tight-knit and so connected, just together? Observing your togetherness is special.
Well, we have our faith for one thing, and all of our children and Pops and I with our faith, and it's not an easy to be a musician. Life is not easy. We had our ups and downs, and not having food to eat sometimes, and where we lived, and we had to move because we didn't have money to pay the rent, and but it just seemed to work. It's something, you just have to work at it like you have a job.
Yeah.
It's a job to stay together and to work at it and to be happy. And, our kids are all grown now. They're out. We have our grandchildren and stuff, but it's just Pops and I now, and we live together. Yes, we live together. But I mean, it's just he and I, and we're
he still
together.
combs his hair to come to bed.
Yes.
Pops, is there a magic recipe? Is there something?
I don't know.
Besides
I don't
what
know
Mama
if
said?
it's magic,
Yeah.
but I think what really helps us is that we're spiritual people, and our grandsons, the pastors, all of us in the family, all of us, we go to church, we pray a lot, we pray together, and we're there for each other. We support each other a lot. It's a very close family because we keep in touch with each other all the time. If we don't hear from one of the kids daily, then
within 2 days,
we kind of, what's going on? What are they doing? So, and we generally keep in touch with each other, and just our whole thing, and our probably most important thing in our life is our family. So we've managed to, through the ups and downs, hold us together, and it really helps that the fact that our kids are great musicians and they play in the band and we travel together, and it just makes it a lot more fun and lovingly so.
Well, it gives you an excuse to be together, to spend time, to be artistic together, to create together.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I'll say as an outsider looking in and seeing how you guys interact. You choose each other. Mm-hmm. Because you can play with anybody. Juan can play with anybody. Peter, Mike can play with anybody he wants. At any point in time, and Sheila stays so busy.
Yes.
But you always continue to choose each other. And that's the thing I think that we all like as fans and listeners, because there's a musical connection that does come through when we hear the music you create together.
And it's that family bond that we have, that people, when I'm selling merchandise, they'll come up and they go, "I want to be the Escovedo. I want to be in your family. I want to," I love that you guys are, so close and so positive and all that. And I go, "Well, you are an Escovedo. We're everybody. We're all families, But I totally understand what they see, because I see it. I don't ignore it or take it for granted that we're close like that with our children and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We just, made it a point to make sure that we are bonded with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
very much so, yeah.
Did you, Pops, and I know we keep getting the stink eye and I got to get you back to sound check,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
did you, was any of this purposeful when you were raising children? Did you put music in their hands with the hope and the thought that they might follow you?
Well, it was, it's always been in the family. The music has always been in the family. With me and my brothers, my dad loved music, my mom loved music. And you grow up in that environment, And with us, we used to rehearse. The band that we had we would rehearse in my front room. So the kids were always there. And I would go out on the road, and when I was with Santana, I would travel and I'd come back, and I could hear them that they already started playing. And the boys particularly were in sports. But then Shelia was always very musical from the beginning. So I think it was just only natural that they all took to being musicians.
Okay.
yeah, nobody had any musical teachers or anything.
Yeah, and I wasn't over their heads and saying, crack the whip. No, you got to do it this. No, you got to practice every day. I didn't do that. We didn't do that. Kind of let them.
You never got in the way of their fun.
Yeah, and I wanted them to make their own decisions and what they wanted to do in life, and if this is what they really wanted, because it's a very difficult life to live, because it's nothing is promised to you. It's a lot of hard work. And, It's always seems to always be a struggle to do what you want to do most, and so I'm just happy that it all turned out well for all of them. Yeah.
Well, it sure did, and I will say that I'm sure glad, and I know I speak for a lot of people. I'm sure glad you did it exactly the way that you did it, because it all did work out, right?
Yeah.
Will you do this again? Can we do this again?
Oh, sure.
We can do this again, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
When I'm 85.
Which won't be long.
Yeah,
No.
coming up in July.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got to do it before then. I'm going to chase you around and do this much more frequently because, like I said, before we turned the mics on, we tried to get you for our 300th episode, and I know you wanted to do it, and we couldn't make the calendar work.
Right.
True.
And then I know, I called you and you called me, and we tried to make it happen, and
Right.
and we've had another 300 some odd episodes go by since then, and it's just silly because, like I said, our first episode was a guy named James Early. And James, he plays with Juan all the time.
Yeah.
Our second episode was Derek Jones.
Yeah.
And so I'm not kidding when I say when we very first started this show, I have my sights set on getting you and capturing your story.
Yeah.
So I absolutely do not want to let much more of my episodes go by without capturing more and more of your story while we still have you before you decide to hang the cleats up. So,
Right. Well, I was just going to say, not long ago, maybe a year now, it's been that he wrote a book.
Yeah.
And it's taken him a couple of years to do. And then Jim Pickett.
Yeah.
Well, let's plug the book too. The book is called My Life in the Key of E.
Correct.
And it's a beautiful read.
Yes.
But
they're doing a documentary on him now.
Yeah, based on the book.
Somebody beat me to the documentary. Oh, I'm pretty mad about that.
Yes. Well, Jim Pickett did. He read the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, he read the book.
He's an actor on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. And then he called a friend of his, Shirley. I don't know her
last. Who's a producer.
Yeah, who's a producer. And
said, let's do this.
Yeah, well, he had her to read it, and she read it in 2 days, and she called him back.
She had the same
said,
experience.
We have to do a documentary on him. Yeah. So they came to the house, and they filmed us, and we've gotten
little
together.
by little, they've been filming.
And I'm sure they're just combing archives for footage and
of everything.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a process that I'm sure glad that they're professionals who have undertaken, because that's something that needs to be captured.
We're looking forward to it.
Terrific. Well, then what I will aim to do is to capture the candid conversations, however you want to have them, whenever you want to have them,
Right.
so that we can get as much of this down as possible, because you have had a beautiful life, and one that I'm sure many of us will be inspired by.
Thank you.
From all angles.
Right.
I'm with Pops and Moms, and it is my great honor to have the Escovedos here. Come down to the Empress Theater every Wednesday in March to come and look at some beautiful artwork, hear some beautiful music, have some lovely, lovely drinks, and a great time, and bring your whole family, because this is a family affair.
Amen.
Sure is. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.